As the Rams hold off the Titans 23-16. The Tennessee Titans came from 16 back to tie it, but in the end were 1 yard short on a pass thrown by Steve McNair, who's now down with our Lynn Swann. Swanee?
Thank you much. Steve, strong ball game, 16 points down. You guys came back in the second half. What was the mindset in the second half that allowed you to really get back into this ball game?
Well, the first half, as you know, we moved the ball pretty well on them. We did some things that made us, not execute, from the 30 on in, on their end of the field. But, we did things that messed us up. We stopped our drive. We had penalties. And, we had some things that, we just didn't execute as well as we did. And we knew that in the second half, we had to come out and execute. And we came out and made our mind up, not to make those mistakes and not to put ourselves in a bind, gain positive yards on first and second down, and just keep our third down to the minimum. We did that, and we moved the ball in the second half well. We put ourselves in a position to win in the end, but, you got two good teams out there. Somebody got to lose, and, and my hat's off to the Rams. They did an excellent job.
I know there were probably a lot of people that looked at your football team on that last drive if they scored to go up 23, and they thought it was all over. What was your mindset taking the team down the field on that last drive?
We've been doing this off and on during the whole year, and we knew that we had an opportunity to go down and score with, we said on the sideline when they scored, the only fault that they did, they left too much time on the clock. Unfortunately, we got down there and we just fell short. We knew that we can move the ball on. It was just a matter of me not trying to force the ball, make some plays, with my legs and arms and try to get us in a position to even tie it or either win it. But, like I said, we just came up short.
Steve, you're a class act. You're a great champion. Thank you very much for stopping here and spending the time.
Thank you.
Chris?
All right, Swanee and Steve McNair, thank you. It's Super Bowl record for rushing the quarterback with 64 yards. How about Tennessee staying the course, down 16-0, staying with their game plan? It almost won it for him, Steve.
Actually, Tennessee did everything that we talked about. Eddie George, Steve McNair moving the pocket, little screen pass, wide check a little bit here and there. They did all the things except they didn't get the turnovers that I think it would have made a difference in this game. They hung tough. They showed some great class coming back from 16-0. I thought the game was, when they scored that touchdown to go 16-0, I really felt like the momentum when really everything was going to go away from them. They fought back, and really that last highlight, stretched out, trying for the goal line. How poignant is that, thinking about how close you get to a Super Bowl championship? It's an arm's length. I don't think I will ever forget standing there and watching that.
The Music City Miracle, they come back and they're down at the half at Jacksonville. They're down 60-0 in the Super Bowl and 1 yard short. But the Rams are the winners, and a man that ran and caught his way into the record books, Marshall Faulk, is with our Leslie Visser. Leslie.
Well, the St. Louis Rams went by way of Cleveland and Los Angeles. Marshall Faulk came by way of Indianapolis. What does this mean to you, Marshall?
Oh, this is the dream come true. This feels so good. I mean, I'm numb right now.
What was it like at first? You just couldn't get in the red zone. You struggled so much.
They have a nice game plan down in the red zone. We were trying to get the ball in there. They played us tough. We took our field goals, and we knew eventually we would get in there.
After all you've been through, was that the most nerve-wracking final 2 minutes?
You know what? It's great. This is what Super Bowls are made of. I've seen some games where guys have been blown out and games haven't been fun. But, I mean, you got to, on television, the crowd here, they got a great football game today.
Does it feel like you've imagined all these years?
Oh, my God. It's better than what I even thought it would ever be.
Well, it was a fantastic finish. Congratulations, Marshall. Back to you guys.
All right, Leslie and Marshall, thank you. Only the second Super Bowl ever played without a turnover by either team. The other one was the Giants-Bills 20-19 game. Another memorable game. Aerials provided by Budweiser. Budweiser thanks you for choosing a designated driver. We all make a difference. In Super Bowl 34, 23-16 over the Tennessee Titans, whose tenacity throughout this postseason will never, ever be forgotten. Their head coach, Jeff Fisher, is now downstairs with our Lynn Swann. Swanee.
You came in at halftime, you walked out, you told me you thought you needed about 24 points in the second half. Looked like your offense got things in track, and especially your defensive line and being able to stop the Rams.
Well, we did. We kind of caught our breath. The defense was on the field the whole first half, and we didn't have the ball much offensively, and so we decided to stay with our plan. As you could see, we wanted to run the football and make some plays, and we did. And I've got to congratulate Dick and Georgia and the entire Rams organization for a great season and a great ball game. And I am also especially proud of our football team. We've been doubted all year and underdogs all year, and that shows you the kind of character and the kind of fight we have. Steve's effort at the end and everybody's effort was just, you know, you didn't fail. I think our success was just put on hold temporarily, and you know, we'll find out what kind of team we are next year.
I'm going to ask you one last question. McNair was down on the field, kneeling. You walked over, you kneeled down to him. What did you say to him?
You know, that's between the coach and the player, Lynn. You guys can only imagine what I said to him.
Thank you very much.
Jeff Fisher and the Titans will have other opportunities. Thank you, Swanee. But Dick Vermeil at age 63, the oldest coach ever to win a Super Bowl. There's the victorious Rams locker room. Back with more here in Atlanta in a moment.
Blood the engine again?
This man right here is my great-grandfather. He's the first cat herder in our family.
Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy.
Anybody can herd cattle. Holding together 10,000 half-wild short hairs, well, that's another thing altogether.
Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
I got this one this morning, right here, and if you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, you know.
You see the movies, you hear the stories, I'm living a dream. Not everyone can do what we do.
I wouldn't do nothing else.
It ain't an easy job, but when you bring a herd into town and you ain't lost a one of them, ain't a feeling like it in the world.
EDS, managing the complexities of e-business.
ABC Next on an all-new Practice.
I didn't even know that woman.
They found her body in your car.
The firm goes to L.A.
That's how she used to look.
For the toughest murder trial of their lives.
This is dark. It's sexual.
It's the biggest day of television.
He is your best last chance. You are looking at the death penalty.
An all-new Practice. ABC Next.
ABC Sports exclusive coverage of Super Bowl 34. Brought to you by the Lincoln LS Motor.
A reminder, next Sunday live from Hawaii, it's the conclusion of the NFL season, the AFC-NFC Pro Bowl, 5:30 Eastern, 2:30 Pacific, and of course, 12:30 at Aloha Stadium. Steve Young, for the third straight years, the Broncos the last 2 years, the Rams this year, the last undefeated team in the regular season is the last team standing at the end. Consistency and what you do well pays off. Congratulations to the Rams.
Thank you very much. Yeah, and interesting that the plays that won the game last week and this week was just kind of a throw it up to the corner after all the complicated offense they had and the personnel changes and so forth. Two simple plays won in the championship game of the Super Bowl.
I've enjoyed your company.
Really a lot of fun. Thanks, Bo.
It's great to be here with you. Steve Young, Chris Berman. That's the scene in our post-game show. 23-16, St. Louis has won Super Bowl 34 over Tennessee. The practice is coming up shortly. But first, let's get back to the booth. Al Michaels, you got a voice left?
Chris, this is the look of a fairy tale. This is the way it ends, Vermeil and Warner. There is no way to overstate how improbable this was. The Rams signed Trent Green to a big contract. He was going to be the savior, the quarterback. He was hurt in a preseason game on the night of August 28th. That night, Georgia Frontier was at her Los Angeles home. She wasn't in St. Louis. The team president, John Shaw, was at his Los Angeles home watching the game on a satellite dish. They were supposed to have dinner later that night. The Green injury takes place. Shaw calls Frontier, says, Georgia, I just can't come. I'm sick. Georgia says, John, you have to come. They go to a restaurant. 10 minutes in, Shaw almost has his head in the soup. Frontier says to Shaw, come on, John, perk up. You know this guy Warner? He might be the next Johnny Unitas. Georgia believes in astrology. It must have been in the stars. How else do you explain that the Super Bowl champions are the St. Louis Rams? It ends tonight in Atlanta. 13-3 during the regular season, 3-0 in the playoffs. They win their first title in 48 years over Tennessee, 23-16. That's the story from Georgia. Al Michaels for our whole crew saying good night from Atlanta.
Isaac Bruce picked it up, and Bruce is gone. 7th longest play in Super Bowl history. And on that play, Warner becomes the first 400-yard passer in Super Bowl history. 23-16 Rams. Titans need to tie. J.K., how's McNair going to try and drive him down the field?
Tell you what, one thing you like about Steve McNair, I said before, the never give up attitude. And this is something that was probably their biggest threat, was him running the ball, not throwing the ball.
McNair to Dyson. And then McNair almost picked off by Dre Bly. Good thing for Bly didn't, because it was offsides in the Rams. Vermeil can't believe it. He said he's more calm. You didn't show on that play. 3rd and 5, 22 seconds. Watch this play. McNair starts to run, doesn't. You got two guys who weigh almost a combined 500 pounds. McNair throws both of them off and somehow finds Kevin Dyson down to the 10-yard line. TJ, how?
Well, you just enjoy the athleticism. Look at McNair. He's great balance right there, great strength pulling away from Kevin Carter in that group of two right there, and then throwing a dart down the football field. And I think people really underestimate his arm strength.
Hold your breath. 6 seconds left to play. Kevin Dyson stopped short. Time expires. Rams win. Dick Vermeil gets his first Super Bowl. The Rams franchise gets their first Super Bowl. Look at the last play. Dyson had the ball in the seam. Mike Jones brought him down short. TJ.
In and out coverage here. Mike Jones had the inside receiver. Whoever he was did a great job of playing in front of the goal line. No good playing in the end zone. Great job, world champs, Rams.
You saw the frustration of Steve McNair, the utter joy of Kurt Warner, and the Rams beat the Titans 23-16. Rams' first NFL championship since 1951. In this game, the Titans came back from a 16-0 deficit. Isaac Bruce, 8 catches, $162, including that game-winning touchdown. Torrey Holt, 7 grabs, 109 yards. Eddie George and Steve McNair, great games. McNair, 214 yards passing, 64 rushing, not enough. Kurt Warner completed passes to 9 different receivers, which ties an NFL Super Bowl record. After the game, Marcellin and Wilcox caught up with a very emotional Isaac Bruce.
You guys came out on offense slugging, very aggressive as opposed to the NFC Championship game. It's tied up 16-16. You guys go right up tight right away. What were the thoughts?
Well, I told everyone before the season started that Mike Martz, he's the type of coach that he will go for your throat from the first to the fourth quarter. So we didn't want to sit on the top. We didn't want to go into overtime. We wanted to win it in regulation.
Talk about the tackle made by Mike Jones on that very last play. The offense just had to turn it over to the defense and let them win it for a change.
Hey, again, they've done the same thing. That defense has been playing great all week. I've never been a defensive player, but that was the best defensive player I've ever seen.
Isaac Bruce, home run hitter in the big game. Let's send it back to you.
Thanks, Sal. It was a season of parity. 4 teams won 13 games in the regular season. 2 of those teams ended up here. You cannot ask for a better Super Bowl or a better season. Both coaches, very different but very interesting.
Well, Stu, I thought they both knew their team so well. You think about the Rams, you see a team that wanted to be explosive at the beginning of the game. Now, they had trouble sticking the ball in, but they got out in front early. That's what they wanted to do. Jeff Fisher wanted his team to stay close enough to have a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. They had that chance. It took a great play by the Rams on the goal line to seal the win. So, you know, what a job. We always say, know your personnel. These two guys do.
That's for sure. I mean, the Rams came into this game wanting to open it up. Kurt Warner told me earlier in the week that this is a game where we cannot afford to do what we did last week. Get a little bit behind and all of a sudden start pressing. Kurt Warner came in and did exactly what he wanted to do early in the football game. The big problem, though, inside the red area where the game is won and lost. First 0 for 12. His big touchdown, making it 1 for 13 inside the red area. But Tennessee, playing that physical style football, they came in here, did what they wanted to do. I'll tell you one thing. The fans, everybody in the whole world, got their money's worth today.
Yeah, Kurt Warner didn't have his best game of the season, even though he passed for 414. But you can say that
good one.
You can say it was his grittiest. It was his grittiest game. 414 yards, 6th best in postseason history. It was his 11th 300-yard game this year, including the playoffs in 1999. And when you sit on top of Joe Montana and the likes of John Elway and Doug Williams, I think that's saying a whole lot. Kurt Warner, the Super Bowl most valuable player.
Inside the Numbers is brought to you by Visa, the official card of the NFL. Log on to ESPN.com for more Inside the Numbers.
When NFL Primetime comes back, we'll hear more from the Super Bowl champions, break down how they did it, and hear from the losers. Although you really can't call the Titans losers in this one. We're back.
Super Bowl edition of NFL Primetime is brought to you by Claritin.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. Eddie George, you know, we had talked all week about the fact that sometimes he doesn't run quite as hard as he should. Tiptoes, then he hits the hole. 130 yards from scrimmage, rushing and receiving. Eddie George ran hard the entire game, but obviously very disappointed after the loss.
Oh, it was a hell of a ride. It was one hell of a ride, man, from the game in Buffalo to the game in Indianapolis to beating Jacksonville twice, 3 times to get here. You know, it was one hell of a ride, and it's always going to be special to me, you know. We just fell short. You know, we just didn't make enough plays to win it. That's just the bottom line.
Any play that we thought was for Dyson. You know, like I said, you know, the linebacker made a great play. It was a one-on-one. It was just a matter of him breaking the tackle and getting in the end zone. And, you know, to come that close and not make it, you know, it's disappointing. But like I said, this is a game of emotions. And, you know, they had a class act stance on that play.
I've never seen a team grow as much, I think, over the course of one season as much as this team has. Going from a team that was wondering maybe if it could compete in this league to a team that obviously, without a doubt, is one of the 2 best teams in the league this year. And, you know, this team has a great future ahead of it.
Couldn't have said it better. Truly were the 2 best teams in the NFL this year, obviously. St. Louis Rams made it to the Super Bowl on a late fourth quarter touchdown pass from Kurt Warner to Ricky Prohl. They do it again in the Super Bowl, late fourth quarter touchdown pass, Warner to Isaac Bruce. JK, run through that play.
A lot of times teams put into their game plan throws that if a defensive back is ahead of the receiver, it'll underthrow. This particular play, Kurt Warner is pressured, not only from up the middle, but from the outside. He throws it up, wasn't able to follow through. The ball was thrown short. Defensive back looks back for it. Boom. Isaac Bruce slows down, catches it. Rest is history. And nobody's going to catch him once he gets to the outside and cuts back to the inside.
Well, Jim, the thing that I'm struck by is the courage that he showed on that play, and I think it's certainly a microcosm of what he showed us throughout the season and especially through the playoffs. He knew he was going to get that pressure from Javon Kearse. He knew he had to make a throw. And I think when you look at the situation, we're standing there on the football field wondering, will they kill the clock? Will they settle for going into OT? No, he's going to take that big shot downfield. So they stayed with what got them here.
And we are wondering that because emotionally the momentum has shifted way over to the side of the Tennessee Titans. The last 2 times the Rams had the ball, they had gone 3 and out. They thought maybe we just regroup, run the ball. Kurt Warner, that gunslinger attitude. I know another gunslinger guy who used to play quarterback here in the Super Bowl. Isaac Bruce. Speaking of being on a list with some greats, Isaac Bruce, 162 receiving yards, 3rd best in Super Bowl history. Of course, the all-time leader. Asked the Cincinnati Bengals about Jerry Rice, 215 yards back in Super Bowl 23. When we get back, we'll talk about Steve McNair. He had the longest run for a quarterback in Super Bowl history in this game, made some absolutely fat plays. We're coming back. The stat sheet says Steve McNair, 8 rushes, 64 yards. But, TJ, you were saying there's no way that you can defend against that.
Well, I thought that the Rams did a pretty good job in the first half, and it was 2 distinctly different halves. If you watch Steve McNair in the first half of the football game, the Rams were able to contain him. They were able to keep him from making those big plays downfield. I thought they did a great job of bringing pressure up the middle and forcing him to do things like this, make throws on the move. You know, his athleticism scares you as a defense because, as you said, Stu, you can't account for it. A couple of throws off. When we got into the second half and he had to make plays, and this is maybe the best scrambling play or as good a scrambling play as I've ever seen by a quarterback in a game, he forced the DBs to give up on the play. he ended up with a play that ended up putting them down there where they had a chance at least to win the football game. And he's only going to get better.
Oh, there's no doubt about him. He's still young. I mean, you look at some of the plays he made, almost remind me of Randall Cunningham and some of the things he was able to do. But I look at Steve McNair. Yeah, he was off early in the game, but what he's able to do running the football, at times I watched him go from his first to his second receiver, but more importantly, once his first guy was covered, he was able to make things happen in the second half that some of the other players will never be able to do. His athletic ability was a difference in the second half for the Tennessee Titans.
You guys remember the Music City Miracle? Frank White
to
Kevin Dyson.
Yes, I remember.
Kevin Dyson was the guy who caught that pass lateral, and then ran it down for the touchdown. Dyson almost had his second Music City Miracle, landed at the 1-yard line. He did, though, spend some time with our Susie Culver afterwards.
Kevin, that final drive, you were so clutch. I mean, so close, but just not enough.
Man, it's just a sickening feeling. My whole life, I've never been close like that. I've always been the one to get it done, but, you know, building block for next year.
Could you feel him right on you? Did you think you had it?
I thought I had it. As soon as I caught it, I seen yellow. Thought I was in there. I didn't know where he came from. We worked on that play in practice, and it happened just like we wanted to. He made a great play.
That last drive you were moving, did you think you had it? Everything was in rhythm.
Yeah, we never doubted anyway. And any time we thought we was going down there and get it done. We've been getting it done all year long like that. And, you know, he made a great play, man. It just comes like that sometimes.
Kevin, thanks. Let's go back to you.
Kevin Dyson, 4 catches, 41 yards in the game. Both of you guys know what it feels like to lose a Super Bowl. Jim, you know what it feels like to lose a very, very close one on the last play that doesn't quite go the way that you want it to. What are the Titans feeling right now?
Well, right now, they're very down, of course, as everybody would expect. But I'll tell you what, you look at what the Tennessee Titans are going to have to do. They're going to have to regroup and think of what it took to get to this point. The resiliency that they're going to have to show in the offseason is going to be the key, whether they continue and come back next year.
I think this is a tougher loss for a team to take in a Super Bowl because they ended up so close to at least having a chance to win the game. And, you know, any appreciation that you have for losing a Super Bowl is gained way after tonight. You don't feel it tonight.
Yeah, this is the 9th Super Bowl decided by 7 or fewer points, but the second one in the past 3 years. So people used to say that Super Bowls were one-sided affairs and very boring. Take that. When we come back, we will have more from the Georgia Dome and the celebration of the St. Louis Rams world champions. We're back. The skyline of Atlanta, Georgia hasn't been very hot this week with all the chill in the air, but you're talking about one hot Super Bowl. The St. Louis Rams deny the AFC 3 straight NFL championships.
It's a dream come true. I mean, you know, you start playing football as a little kid, and you talk about, oh, this is the Super Bowl, and you're out there making moves and playing around with your friends. And to wake up this morning and, you know, go through the whole routine and catch the bus over here and walk out on that field and say, this is the Super Bowl right here. I mean, it was great.
You know, it's one of those things that every football player that plays this game dreams of, and we're here, we got it done, and you know, we got to make the most of it and cherish the moment. Well, I think that one of the things that they did, Stu, as we talk about this game, is that the Rams did a great job offensively. Offensive line of creating space for the running back, of doing a great job of blocking for Kurt Warner. Consider the fact that they spread the receivers out. That meant all the pressure was on that front 5 to get the job done. I thought they did a great job of clawing and fighting until emotion started to give the Titans a chance to turn the tide at the end of the game.
Well, they did, and I think the key that I saw was what Kurt Warner was able to do. He's spreading the football around. I think one point during the course of the ball game, he threw to 8 different receivers. He kept the defensive secondary off guard. You had times you saw him go deep, trying to loosen them up a little bit. Marshall Faulk became a big pivotal part in that offense, you know, early in the game.
Kurt Warner, the 18th quarterback to win a Super Bowl MVP, but the first player since 1994 who was the Super Bowl MVP and the regular season MVP. Steve Young was that. Our game balls when we come back. Stay with us.
Center Dan, Sterling, and Jaws put their unique spin on our continuing Super Bowl post-game coverage. We'll have our Sunday conversation from the big game, and MJ has a new coach. Join us for SportsCenter after Primetime.
NFL primetime players, my game ball goes to the rookie Torrey Holt out of North Carolina State. 7 catches, 109 yards, most yards receiving ever by a rookie in NFL Super Bowl history.
Well, my game ball goes to Kurt Warner. I mean, what more can you do as a quarterback? Under pressure, came through, came up with a big play at the end of the game when they needed it.
Jim, I guess they had a pretty good day throwing the ball because my game ball goes to Isaac Bruce, the opposite receiver, 6 receptions, 162 yards, and the biggest catch of his professional life, a touchdown that wins the Super Bowl, Stu.
And I think we should give a nice game ball to the Tennessee Titans because they played one heck of a ball game.
Well, that's for sure. If I had to give another one away, probably that whole offensive line. I realize how important those guys are, buddy.
When we come back, our final thoughts on Super Bowl 34. Rams win it 23-16. We're coming back to the Georgia Dome.
Today's SportsCenter Classic Moment is brought to you by MasterCard.
Magic Johnson had the rug pulled out from under him by a disease where we didn't have full information. As the years went by, it's only natural for him to say, wait a minute. Maybe what I thought was true before isn't really true. Why can't I play?
Warm-ups are coming off, and Magic Johnson returns to the NBA. Elevator.
Linebacker makes the game-saving tackle.
Thank you. We was in a combination coverage, and we had a safety and myself and the cornerback doubling 3-on-2 on a tight end and the wide receiver. Both those guys released upfield, and I had to stay inside. Whoever was the first guy to go inside, I had to get him. The wide receiver didn't see me. I went inside. I was inside the tight end. When he planted, I planted right along with him. I seen him get rid of the ball. We came up, made a tackle, and we won the game.
What's on your mind? Franchises that have never been to the Super Bowl against franchises that have been are now 2-12 in Super Bowl history. Guys, final thoughts. What do you think?
Stu, has there ever been a better story than the Rams? Kurt Warner coming from the Arena League, MVP of the season, MVP of the Super Bowl, a team that won 4 games last year. This gives hope to everybody, Jim. You can be here and win.
There's no doubt about it. I look at the other side. I look at Tennessee, what they're going to have to go through during this offseason. It's what they have to do to prepare to get ready and see if they can make it back here next year.
The Rams franchise, they've now won a world championship in Cleveland in 1945. They won a world championship in Los Angeles in 1951. And they won a world championship in St. Louis in 1999. For Jim Kelly, Tom Jackson, our entire Primetime crew, I'm Stuart Scott. We'll see you.
All sights are set on one glittering goal, the chance to play and win in the Super Bowl.
Hey there, and welcome to this Super Bowl edition of SportsCenter. Holding down the fort here in our ESPN studios, I am Rich Eisen, and this is like the old McNeil-Lehrer News Hour. Rich Eisen in Bristol, and Dan Patrick is in Atlanta.
Well, or Huntley and Brinkley, if you want to, Rich. After you do the honors of showing the highlights of Super Bowl 34, Sterling Sharp and Ron Jaworski will join me here in Atlanta to provide the blowout the budget coverage, including post-game reaction from both the Rams and the Titans.
So we will be rejoining you in a moment, Dan. First, let us review what happened in Super Bowl 34. Rams' first Super Bowl in 20 years. As for the Titans...
And you know the dealio. 1, 2, 3, dominate! Up!
Blaine Bishop firing up the Titans. The dealio is this. First Rams possession, 27-yard field goal attempt for Jeff Wilkins. The snap dropped by Mike Horan. No points for the Rams. First Titans drive ends with a field goal attempt. Same result, in the fact, no points. Aldo Greco's 47-yard field goal wide left. Later in the first quarter, Kurt Warner fading back, finds Torrey Holt across the middle, 32 yards. That would set up a 27-yard field goal for Wilkins. This time the kick is good. We have points, 3-0 Rams. Titans looking to continue to clamp down Javon Curse. Can't get to Kurt Warner in time, but Torrey Holt can't hold on to the catch for Dick Vermeil's bunch. And receivers coach Al Saunders saying, this is what you got to do. Or something to that effect. Final minutes of the first half, Warner throws it out to Holt. 16 yards, first down. Later in the drive, Holt hauls in another pass, 18 yards, sets up another Wilkins field goal, 9-0 Rams at the half. Kurt Warner, 277 first half passing yards, second most in Super Bowl history. Early third quarter, Al Del Greco from 36. Todd Light blocks the kick, and the Titans are still off the board. On the ensuing Rams possession, Warner to tight end Ernie Conwell. First down in a major collision. It's Bishop, the heart and soul of this Titans defense, down and hurt. Take a second look. Bishop seems to get the worst of this collision. Jeff Fisher and the Titans gathering together. The Rams also quite concerned. Bishop left by a stretcher after several minutes of being down. Bishop alert, diagnosed with a strained neck, full use of all his limbs. Same Rams drive from the 9. Warner hits Holt. This time Holt holds on, touchdown, 16-0 Rams. Watch it again, using the face mask to steady the ball. Late third quarter, here comes Steve McNair and the Titans like they were in the AFC Championship game. McNair takes off 24 yards down to the Rams 2. Then Eddie George blasts in from a yard out. 16-6 Rams. Titans going for 2 because it would be a one-score ball game with another touchdown and two-point conversion. McNair can't find Frank Wycheck, so it's a 16-6 ball game. Early fourth quarter, 3rd and 1 for the Titans near midfield. George up the gut, seems to get that first down, but they don't measure it with that yellow line. It's with the chains. 4th and inches. So on 4th and inches, McNair calls his own number. That would be number 9. And Lorenzo Neal, number 41, helps with the push. Javon Kerr says it's a first down. We don't disagree because he's a large man. It is a first down, same drive. McNair fading back one way, across Jackie Harris the other way, almost picked off, but instead it's a 21-yard gain down to the 4. 2 plays later. Eddie George's 8th carry of the drive. Almost 2 carries and 1 carry. Second effort, touchdown. But take another look and pay attention to George's left knee. This play was not reviewed. Play stands, 16-13 Rams. It's a 3-point ball game. Rams facing a 3rd and 8 on the next possession, and Warner and the Rams go 3 and out. Titans next possession can tie it with a field goal. Steve McNair creating. He's a factor. First down. Same drive, 3rd and 2. McNair throws to Jackie Harris, who nearly joins Jackie Smith in Super Bowl ignominy by fumbling it, but Isaac Bird recovers. That sets up Al Del Greco from 43 yards, and we have a tie ball game in the Super Bowl. On the ensuing Rams possession, first play from scrimmage, the MVP of the league fades back and finds Isaac Bruce, who takes it 73 yards for the touchdown, and the Rams are back on top just like that. And on the play, Warner sets a Super Bowl record. More on that in a minute, but there's a $1:16 left in this ball game, and Steve McNair was feeling it. All sorts of time, takes it himself. First down, and a face mask penalty tacks on 15 more yards. 22 seconds left. McNair at his absolute best. Scrambling, slips away, has a notion to take off, but realizes he's got to really throw this ball, creating all sorts of time, slipping away, staying up, and finds Kevin Dyson down to the 10. Jeff Fisher uses his last timeout. The Super Bowl comes down with 6 seconds left. McNair looking for the tie. Finds Dyson, who comes up a yard short because Mike Jones tackles him. Dick Vermeil and the Rams win the Super Bowl by a yard. 3 feet. Take another look. Dyson stretching, lunging, but Jones from St. Louis played his college ball in Missouri. Gives the Rams the Super Bowl. Fisher and McNair sharing a nice bonding moment. Vermeil and Warner, coach and quarterback, a different moment there. The Rams win a most exciting Super Bowl. 23-16 is your final. What a game. 16 unanswered points scored by both teams. The bomb, the ending, and this was the first and only other turnoverless Super Bowl since the Giants and Bills also went down to the last snap in Super Bowl 25. Warner capped his dream season with a storybook ending, breaking Joe Montana's Super Bowl record with 414 passing yards, earning him Super Bowl MVP honors. Not bad for the Iowa Barnstormer. Not bad for the Rams. From 4-12 to Super Bowl champions.
You know I'm an emotional guy, but right now, I feel so good and so proud of this football team and this organization to be able to bring this home to the city of St. Louis. They're a wonderful city full of wonderful people. Our organization appreciates them. We appreciate, I know they appreciate us a little bit more right now, and this is coming home to St. Louis.
I always believed in myself, and I got a whole bunch of people here that believed in me. And as long as I had those guys, I was going to give them everything I had. And it's because of these guys and the confidence they had in me that I'm standing up here today. And I thank all the players, all the coaches, my family, everybody for believing in me. And we're world champions. How about them Rams?
Delving inside the numbers, we find those Rams are the first team in major pro sports history to win 3 championships in 3 different cities. The Cleveland Rams won it all in 1945, the LA Rams in 51. The 63-year-old Vermeil becomes the oldest coach to win a Super Bowl, edging out Weeb Eubank by 2 years. Another of Montana's Super Bowl records went down Sunday. Steve McNair's 64 rushing yards, the most by a Super Bowl quarterback. The Titans dropped the all-time record of Super Bowl first-timers to 6 in 16. Let's now head down to Atlanta for so much more, and I guess all you can say, Dan, is wow.
Thank you, Rich. An unexpected ending to an unexpected season back here in Atlanta. Sterling Sharpe, Ron Jaworski, as we continue to brave the elements here. This guy feels like he played, so I need oxygen for Jaws. It's been 10 years since you played. You're a mess. Now, you need to regroup.
It's been a long day, but a beautiful day,
yes,
by the way.
We'll get to their comments coming up in a moment. From 4-12 in 1998 to Super Bowl champs in 1999, this was deemed an upside-down season in the NFL, given the fact the perennial powers either didn't make the postseason or bowed out early when they did. But in the end, the Rams ended right side up, barely.
That defense has been playing great all week. I've never been a defensive player, but that was the best defensive player I've ever seen.
We're going. The last drive was just praying to God, just hold him, baby, just hold him. You know, we had a minute left to a world championship, and you know, they came up big. Got to get my hats off to Tennessee. We wanted to fall on our shoulders. It came on our shoulders, defensive shoulders. Hadn't heard a lot about our defense. We still hadn't got a lot of respect. For us to take it down and be on the defensive shoulders and pull it out and win the game on our shoulders, it was tremendous.
And it's just a sickening feeling. My whole life, I've never been close like that. I've always been the one to get it done, but, you know, building block for next year.
Could you feel him right on you? Did you think you had it?
I thought I had it. As soon as I called it, I seen yellow. Thought I was in there. I didn't know where he came from. We worked on that play in practice, and it happened just like we wanted to. He made a great play.
We were in a combination coverage. Thank you. We was in a combination coverage, and we had a safety and myself and the cornerback doubling 3-on-2 on a tight end and the wide receiver. Both those guys released upfield, and I had to stay inside. Whoever was the first guy to go inside, I had to get him. The wide receiver didn't see me. I went inside. I was inside the tight end. When he planted, I planted right along with him. I seen him to get rid of the ball. We came up, made a tackle, and we won the game.
Kurt Warner throws up the first 400-yard passing game by a quarterback in Super Bowl history. Warner's yardage is the most for any sort of championship game, league or conference. Only Darryl LaMonica, the Mad Bomber, had thrown for 400 yards in a league title game. That was back in 1968, in the game against the Jets. Jaws, you retired 10 years ago. I guess once a coach, always a coach. You played for Dick Vermeil. Did you feel like you went through the game with him?
Dan, no question about it. I can't tell you how proud I am of what Dick Vermeil accomplished and what his Rams team accomplished today. And I feel sad that I couldn't deliver him a championship back in Super Bowl 15, but Kurt Warner came through and the Rams team in a very big way because Dick Vermeil is a deserving man of being a world champion. When he left the game for 15 years after 1982 and came back, people ridiculed him, made fun of him. The game had passed him by. Well, Dick Vermeil made all those guys, the real doubting Thomases, realize that Dick Vermeil can still coach the National Football League. And I was with him right before the game, and we were talking. He said, "Ron, do you know where my wife is?" I said, "Yeah, she's 4 rows right behind the bench." And he said, "You know, 9 of my grandchildren are here today." He was really excited about that. And by the fact that he asked about his kids showed me that he was a different guy than there was in 1981 in Super Bowl 15. Super Bowl 15, he wouldn't have known if the president was behind that bench. He was really excited, and he was really aware of what was happening, and his team played to win it for him.
And he got helped out, I think, in the first half. It looked like the Titans got conservative. This is a conservative offense anyways, and they don't give it to Eddie George. It seemed like they were trying to break out of the mold and be something different.
Considering they came down here all week talking about how physical they wanted to be with the Rams playing that physical championship game, they wanted to hammer the Rams defense with the running game. And it was surprising. Out of 24 plays, they ran the ball 7 times. They threw it 14. Not counting the 2 runs by Steve McNair. But, I mean, you've got to continue to do what got you here. Steve McNair right here, back to pass. This is one of those things that got them, I thought, got them in trouble from setting the tone, setting the tempo for themselves in the first half. They came out in the second half, of course, and did that. But when you look at this game, it was physically lost by the Tennessee Titans, I thought, in the first half because they did not run the football.
Well, your thoughts when you looked at a predictable offense here, or, you know, how St. Louis tended to counter that?
Yeah, well, I really thought the Tennessee defense came up big in the second half. I mean, they got ripped in the first half. You know, when you look at Warner, he was on fire till they got in the red zone. He was 20-20. I mean, he was just completing passes all over the place. But in the second half, especially after Blaine Bishop got hurt, that Tennessee defense rose to the occasion, as you'll see right here. Here comes the pressure from the front 4, batting balls down. They did a nice job. They batted a number of balls down. You'll see, again, the outside pressure by Holmes. Again, pressure, throw away by Warner. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Mike Marks, the offensive coordinator, not a real happy guy right now. Say, what's going on? Here you see the brackets, and this was the big play. The only play the Rams made in the second half. Isaac Bruce adjusts to an underthrown ball, makes a couple guys miss. This play won the game for the St. Louis Rams. But let me show you why it happened. Here's the pressure. Warner gets rid of the football, looking down the gun barrel. If you want to be a great quarterback in the National Football League, you've got to look down the gun barrel, take those hits. And actually, I think that hit helped a little bit. The ball was a little bit underthrown. Bruce came back. That helped make the touchdown.
Something you said earlier in the week. You said you're going to find out how good Kurt Warner is because you saw a flaw in the Tampa Bay game. They went at him, they hit him, and his quick release got a little quicker.
Yes.
We saw that on Sunday night, but he hung in there and he took a couple of big hits.
He didn't do it in the first half, and we talked about all week there was going to be 4 to 6 opportunities for Kurt Warner to get his helmet almost ripped off, and he had to stand in there and make the throw. In the first half, he didn't do that. Jaws just showed you one of those plays where he did, but here's a blitz by Blaine Bishop. Got to stay in there and take that hit. Ball's incomplete. Got a guy right there on the slant. Here's another opportunity versus the blitz. He's going to have a guy in the flat right here, wide open for a touchdown. Does not stand in there and take that lick. Incomplete. Have to settle for a field goal. This was the game plan for him. This is what they wanted to do, a pass over in the corner. Wide open Ricky Prohl. Kurt Warner doesn't stand in there and take that hit, but he did do it when it mattered. He looked down that gun barrel. He made that throw.
You think it's so easy.
It is very easy for a guy running wide open, make the throw.
Are you guys through? Are you guys through?
Yeah, you can take it.
Got a TV show to do. Kurt Warner, just the 6th player in NFL history to win regular season MVP honors and then win the MVP in the Super Bowl. Back during Week 8 of the regular season, the Titans handed the Rams their first setback of the season, 24-21. Almost exactly 3 months to the day, St. Louis sought and found redemption, but not without a fight to the finish by Tennessee. Here's Susie Colbert.
Torrey Holt sets a rookie receiving record for the Super Bowl. That's a pretty good way to get it done.
Yeah, it is. It's a great way to go out. You know, it's a great way to finish the season. You know, I made the all-rookie team, had a pretty good season. Not as well as I wanted to, but it went well. And in the last three weeks, I've been playing well, and my teammates have been supporting me and giving me a lot of confidence. So today was a great game, and it was definitely one game that I will remember for the rest of my life.
You were the clutch receiver in this game, and then you come up big with the 9-yard TD.
Yeah, I did. And it's great. You know, Kurt had threw me a touchdown earlier in the ball game, and I didn't come up with it, and I was kind of mad. I wanted to get another opportunity to make a play, and luckily there they blitzed, and I was able to get across Sidney's face, and Kurt found me, and I was able to secure the ball for the touchdown.
Kurt Warner comes up with a huge game, yardage-wise, but it was tough against this Titans team.
Yeah, it was. They came out and played well. You know, my hat goes out to the Tennessee staff and to the Tennessee players for getting ready to play a good Rams team, and they made us you know battle for it. They made us battle for it, and we hung in there and stuck with each other and came up with the win.
Can you believe you're standing here right now?
Man, I can't believe I'm standing here right now, but I'd like to say hello to everybody in Gibsonville and everybody in Raleigh, North Carolina. Go Wolfpack.
Congratulations.
All right, thank you.
Back to you.
Thank you, Susie. Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, just the 5th set of teammates in Super Bowl history to each have 100 yards receiving in this game. It makes you want to exhale a little bit the way that game ended. And I can't think of a bigger tackle in Super Bowl history than the one Mike Jones had.
Ever. I mean, I tell you what, everything played out. I thought the Rams almost got fooled on the play by playing everybody in the end zone, but a great job by Mike Jones of coming up and securing that tackle.
9 out of 10 times when that receiver catches the ball, he'll fight his way into the end zone because he has momentum. I like the call, Sterling.
I do too.
It was the underneath route, the white check going over the top, receiver coming underneath. Big, strong guy like you may have run it in, but Dyson just didn't have enough zoom.
And I'll tell you what, for Mike Jones, the linebacker right here in this play, he did everything just like you are coached to do. He dropped back, he carried the tight end as far as he could. He watched the quarterback plant, he watched the throw, he drove on the football, met at that impact area, secured the tackle, wrapped up. Lower part of the body, just everything that you talk about doing on the tackle, he did. Rams are champions.
The only thing I don't understand, you being a wide receiver, if a defensive back is going to give you that with that much space. Now, if you're down at the 10-yard line, he's going to let you go across the middle because there's all kinds of traffic. But there's a lot of space there.
Yeah, but he was turning him over the linebacker, and Jones did a nice job of letting Whitecheck go by and jumping Dyson.
A little too close for comfort, though, I think.
Just a little too. Not that far.
Just a little bit. Prior to this year's matchup, the last one that featured two teams looking for their first ever Super Bowl victory was the Giants and Broncos in Super Bowl 21. The only other NFL title won by the Rams franchise was back in 1951. As we talked about, they won it barely thanks to the great game-saving tackle by Mike Jones. But you have to give credit to the Tennessee Titans and the play of Steve McNair, especially in the second half. After the game, Solomon Wilcox spoke to the Titans QB.
Steve, valiant effort on the evening. You set a new Super Bowl record running the ball. Did you feel at any point in time you could advance the ball, particularly on third down? You seem to be just having your way.
Well, I think, the difference between this game is the first half that we didn't execute well. We had too many thirds and long. And, when you have third and long against a fast defense like that, you're not going to execute them. And we just came out in the second half, won the game positive yards on first and second down and keep our third down to the minimum. So if I did have to scramble or make things happen, it wasn't going to be a long throw. But we came out, we did what it took in the second half to get it back in the ball game. We just came up short.
Take me to the very last play. Did you execute the play as it was called, or did you have an opportunity or an option to run the ball?
Well, I think, it was ideal to get the ball to Dyson hand. The linebacker so happened just shade off of Frank and come in and get Dyson. Dyson had a couple yards on him, and the linebacker made a great play. When you have guys that's great athletes on defense as the Rams do, it's hard to try to make them. It was one-on-one battle, and they won it.
Thanks, Steve. Keep your head up.
Thank you.
All right, back to you.
Thank you, Solomon. Super Bowl 34 turned out to be very reminiscent of Super Bowl 23. Both featured single-digit combined scoring in the first half, followed by 30-point outburst in the second. MVP Kurt Warner broke the passing record set by Super Bowl 23 hero Joe Montana, and the winning margin was set by a last-minute TD. Take us on home, Sterling.
Well, let's go back to our home away from home, the crib in Bristol, Connecticut, the Coca-Cola Super Bowl city.